What did we use to cut?
Plasma torch?
We used the plasma. We just learned how to use the plasma. We learned how to use the oxy fuel setup, right? Okay. I think for this project, with the thickness of the material that we're going to need to be using, I think the plasma is going to be the best setup. Okay, it's going to give us our cleanest cut. It's going to be able to allow us to cut apart with the least amount of warpage in our material and the least amount of cleanup. Okay, so look, I went ahead and put together a list as well. So kind of along the same thought process. We're going to use some little 125 steel that's nice and thin. It's not too bulky, but it's robust enough to do what we needed to do. Obviously, we're going to need to use a welding machine, right? And that's going to kind of be up to your choice. Plasma cutter, tape measure, okay? Because we're going to have to draw dimensions, right? So that we know how to do this. Soapstone, marking pencil, combination square would be useful in helping us draw straight lines, 90 degrees. Some scratch paper to get our thoughts from here onto paper. I like to see things. I can't always just think of it in my head and then create it. Sometimes I need to draw it out so that I can see what it is. And oftentimes, if you're thinking something in your head and you draw it out, you might be able to see a flaw real quick that you had. You know what I mean? You can catch it before you get too far into the project. Magnets, clamps, things like that, just to sort of hold things. Okay? So looking at everything we had, which, if you'll come over here, this is kind of what I wanted to be able to put into our box, okay? Just little normal tools, tape measure, safety glasses, which they should always be on your head, but if you're like me that wear glasses, when you weld, sometimes the lenses give you a double vision effect, so sometimes I like to take them off, but I keep my hood down. But I need to have them close by so that when I stop, I can put them right back on. You know, welding pliers, chipping hammer, wire brush, okay? Now, since I am a visual learner, and I like to see things, I went ahead and tacked together a little small one, okay? And we can kind of use this as a guide for when y'all are creating yours, you know, because I want it modeled sort of like this one, because I want them all as close to uniform as we can get, okay? So if you look at this, this does everything that we're asking our little project, our performance objective up there is going to do, okay? Holds our pliers, holds our brush, hold a tape measure, it could hold safety glasses, and lastly it could hold our chipping hammer. Okay, just like that. Now look how nice, neat, and organized that is. Alright, so these next slides you'll see I've kind of dimensioned it off of what I've made. Alright, that way it doesn't get too big, doesn't get too bulky, and it kind of lets you get a visual of what it needs to be. Alright, so look. Right here, we're going to be about 8 inches. Okay, so we're going to need to find some material where we can get all these sizes out of. Okay, there's a little side view, and if you look at my sketch, it pretty much matches my made one, my little model, if you will. There's our front view. And I said, some of this stuff, we're going to have a little bit of leeway. I'd like to keep it as close to this as we can, but we may not be able to, okay, depending on where we're going to attach them onto the booth. And like I said, once it's done, that's what it should look like, okay? And obviously we're not going to set it on the welder like it is. We'll attach it to a wall. We'll attach it to something else out there if we need to, okay? What else do you think we need to know about this project as we put it together? Anybody? Anybody? how we're gonna fit it up, right? When you weld stuff together, what are some of the different joints that we have when material meets? Okay, we have a butt joint, right? Where you got one piece of material and it butts up right there to the other one. Okay? We can do a corner fit up. What I call corner to corner. Okay, where if you have one piece of metal, it goes right here, it goes right there, then your other one meets right here. Okay? And that lets you put your weld right here. Fill it up all the way out. When you do our butt weld, obviously it'll be right here. We also can do it in what's called a lap joint, where you have one piece of material right here, maybe you have another one that joins right there, where they kind of overlap into themselves. Okay, so we're going to need to look at which is going to be best for our scenario. Okay, so as we continue this process, which, this is only a 20-minute video, we're not going to make it through the whole thing. That's the kind of things we need to keep in the back of our mind, all right, as we're going to this and as we continue this again tomorrow. Are there any questions right now about what we're doing, why we're doing it, how we're going to do it?
I think we're good.
You think we're pretty good? We got this?
Yeah.
Why are we doing that?
To organize our welding booth. Okay? Thank you. And that is all.